Hi, everybody. Heavy rain continues into the evening hours here, but warm air and storms are also part of the equation, and I can't rule out an isolated tornado. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice, keeping you up to date on all things severe weather today. And yes, with the introduction of some wind energy and the warm, unstable air, we have to account for the chance that some of these storms near this low pressure could spawn a supercell or two, giving us the possibility of some damaging winds. Or even a spin-up tornado into the afternoon hours. Folks, rain is going to be the predominant thing here, and it's going to come in waves. You'll get some dry time. You'll also get some very heavy rain times. And we've already had about an inch in some locations, which means additional 2 to 4 inches in the upstate, 3 to 5 in the mountains could bring storm totals to between 3 and 6 inches across the area, depending on where you live, and that could lead to some flooding. And new today, we have been upgraded to a risk for severe weather. Let's show you what's happening right now on the radar, because there's a lot going on around town. We've got another round of some rain beginning to move in. So far, so good. No spilling of the banks or flooding, but a flood watch is in place for a lot of these upslope areas in the northern part of the upstate, and then these typical trouble spots here where the mountains go up in western North Carolina. That's where we're going to find some problems later today, is if we get some heavier rain to come on through. And there's already some storms beginning to show up back toward Cumming, Georgia. These are special weather statements for 40-mile-per-hour winds and some lightning, but that just tells you here we are in the mid-morning hours, and there's already some strong storms here. Some of that's going to try to wrap into the area this afternoon between, say, 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock and give us a chance for some spicy storms. Here comes that next round of some rain that could be heavy at times into the afternoon hours. And there's already some strong storms down here toward the coast of Georgia into Hilton Head and Charleston. So a lot to unpack here as we move forward here. Let's show you what's going on with the latest computer models, because we have been upgraded to a low-end risk for severe weather today. I want to show you your forecast. I want to show you some highlights above it. You can see what's going on. We are going to be close to 90 degrees by Friday, and that could lead to additional storms. But right now, first things first is Monday. We have a severe weather risk across much of Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and we'll need to watch this closely here, as this could lead to some stronger storms. Tomorrow, just general thunderstorms. I don't think it's going to be as widespread or as severe, but there will be storms across the area. Let's look specifically at what the threat is today. There's a little risk of hail through Georgia, but predominantly, if we get a strong storm with the wind energy that we do have a low-end risk for a spin-up tornado across southern mountains of North Carolina, all of the upstate, basically the entire South Carolina, Georgia area here, and then the I-95 corridor east and Florida. So these areas could have some isolated tornadoes today, in addition to having a flood risk. Let's show you how this unfolds. First, I'll start wide, then I'll get in closer. So first things first, you got some heavy rain trying to stream through as we go into this afternoon. And with that turns a little more stormy than just kind of widespread soaking rain, all right? So you'll get some breaks. You'll also get some torrential rain. You'll get a break, then you'll get some torrential rain. And I think that severe weather risk is primarily between, say, 2 o'clock right in here and 7 o'clock. So that time frame where we got a little bit of a break in the clouds, we're warm, we're unstable, that could lead to some storms as we move through. And that's also going to lead to some of us getting the chance, or at least the risk for severe weather moving throughout the next couple of days. And that chance for tomorrow, let me just zoom out for that, because I've had a lot of you reach out about ball games. We got playoff games going on around town. The last few weeks of school, a lot of activities going on around town. Tomorrow looks like there will be some rain, but it doesn't look to be as widespread. It's more spotty. You can count on some rain. It's definitely going to rain at times, just not as steady or as heavy as today, and that'll be the case. Severe weather-wise, does the energy get our way? Well, here's this afternoon. Like I said, I think that time frame of 2 o'clock to 5, 6 o'clock is the time to watch, because look at these CAPE values. It's convective available potential energy. That's the risk for severe storms. It creeps up here to 2,500 in parts of Georgia and the Carolinas. We need to watch that, because that could lead to some of us getting the risk for some severe weather. And then later on this evening, there's still enough energy into the overnight hours that we could have some rumbles of thunder with this activity. All right, so that's kind of the way things are shaping up. But look at tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another outlook here for at least the eastern half of the upstate through the Piedmont with the potential of 3,000 joules of CAPE tomorrow afternoon. That could lead to some spicy weather and some thunderstorms there. Let's look specifically at the tornado risk. I've got the tornado parameter plotted here. Anytime you get into some 1s, 2s, and 3s, gives us the potential of a spin-up tornado. And I see that creeping up here across parts of the upstate later this afternoon. And that could lead to some of us getting just enough energy for a quick spin up. I don't think it would be widespread or an outbreak of any kind, but certainly we could get a tornado or two this afternoon. Now let's go in closer here to South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. So here we are. There's a break in the storms right now and rain. That's kind of allowing the atmosphere to get a little more unstable, get a little more feisty, if you will. So here's noon, 1, 2. So 2 o'clock and beyond, we've got some cells here that are a little bit on the feisty side. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning out of some of this activity. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then by 7, we're still dealing with some rain, but I don't think it's as feisty or as dangerous. But certainly some very heavy rainfall. That's why there's flood watches in place, and that'll be the case as we go through the rest of tonight. Now tomorrow, again, it's going to be spotty, but there's still some rain around at times. And when that rain comes, it's heavy. It's more here and there, not as widespread, but certainly still some rain. Looks like we don't completely get rid of the rain until we get into our Wednesday's time frame. How about rainfall totals? Let's look at precipitation totals here. Here we go. So this would be additional rain according to the high resolution model. Get some areas, if you get under some thunderstorms here, into the 3+ inch range. Let's look at the NAM model as we look at that freshly here, as it spits out an additional, 2 inches in this red. This white color is an additional 5 or 6 inches on top of what you've already had. So these areas on the eastern and southern facing slopes of the mountains, those are the areas where the flood watch is in place. Some of us will get 1 inch to 2 inches. So there will be lower amounts, but there's also the capacity here in some of these southern and eastern facing slopes of the mountains that could get a tremendous amount more rain during this time frame. Let's look at the lightning potential tonight as we get some of these thunderstorms to form and as they move through. Certainly very electrical in nature. 5, 6, 7 o'clock. So, this evening is going to be tough to come by for outdoor activities, practices, and games. Tomorrow, I have a little more hope that we'll get some things underway, but today is just looking really tough for that. Let's look at the tornado parameter. This is another one that I look at. It doesn't guarantee where or how many tornadoes are going to form, but it does tell you, is the atmosphere conducive of some spin? And here we go into this afternoon. There's some little spins here in the atmosphere that shows that we could get some rotation. Now, this one here could just as easily be over here or over there. I look for the intensity and the number of these, not necessarily the exact location. The model's good, but it's not that good. So just giving you an idea of that. So once we get past the rain today, tomorrow, the big story is going to be those temperatures. We are going to start to cook. If you look down here at your map, try to get both of them in because they're going off the map here. Thursday and a Friday is right here. So Thursday's 86, Friday's 91, Saturday's 89, 86 on Sunday. So we're starting to cook, and it's going to be really, really hot. When you're that hot here in the spring, you have to account for some storms. Here's our low pressure system right now. And oh, by the way, this big ridge has led to record-breaking highs here from parts of Arizona up through the Dakotas into Montana. It's been 101 degrees yesterday in North Dakota. Can you believe that? Now, as we move into tonight, notice those above normal temperatures right there. We're going to start to see the cooler air that's over us with this low pressure system exit stage right, and we get in on some of this warm type unstable air. This is Friday, temperatures above normal across the East Coast. So this could lead to storms. So this low exits. This dip in the jet stream comes in, and downstream from there, Thursday and Friday, could be severe weather. Probably up here toward the Midwest, but wouldn't be surprised if a trailing front and some unstable air give us some feisty storms across the south going into Friday, Saturday's time frame, especially because this low is in the vicinity of the East Coast. Could lead to some stormy activity there, in addition to the warm air. Let me show you the storm fuel. It's there today. It's there tomorrow. By Wednesday into Thursday, we're getting warm and unstable again. Notice how it really bubbles up here. Remember that low was right here. So Thursday, this is some off-the-chart storm fuel. Let's go into Friday's time frame. right over the Carolinas. So I wouldn't be surprised to get some strong storms, some severe storms on Friday when we're in the 90s. And in fact, if you were to look at this a little closer to home, let's look at what that Cape is looking like. I mean, 3,000, 4,000 joules a Cape. That's a lot of fuel for storms. Doesn't guarantee you a storm. You got to have something to initiate it or kick it off. But certainly the fuel for storms to form that could be on the severe side. How about the tropics? We've been watching some activity that's been trying to crop up here toward the Caribbean. It really is warm, quite bubbly down there. Couple of lower pressures trying to form in that time frame of the 15th to the 18th, late this week, as I've been telling you about. Nothing looks to be consolidating on the GFS anymore. Certainly wet in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, but it doesn't look like a defined low pressure system is going to form until possibly after it moves through those areas and is moving away from the islands and away from the United States. Like I mentioned in some of my other broadcasts here, this time of the year is not uncommon to get development in the Caribbean or the Gulf. In fact, 9 out of the past 10 years, we've had development, an early named storm in May prior to hurricane season starting on June 1st. So just something that on the back burner we need to keep an eye on. Today primarily is about the flood threat in western North Carolina and the severe weather threat across Georgia and both Carolinas, as we could have some isolated tornadoes later on this afternoon. I'll be keeping you posted along the way, folks. I hope you stay safe. Please let me know in the comment section where you're watching from right now and share this with your family. That's the best way to stay safe in these environments. And hey, if you're new to this channel, please consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and turn on those notifications if you can. That is the best way that you can be informed if a new video drops, or if we get into some wall-to-wall coverage, as we call it, where we're just on consistently letting you know where the storms are. You'll see it there on your feed. Hope you have a great day, everybody. I'll see you soon.